China.
Now remember, for the longest time I've been talking about the fact that eventually we were going to have some sort of war, world war. It looked like we were going to have a civil war, but apparently it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen. It seems like we might actually, instead of having a civil war in the United States, we're actually going to have another world war, World War III between the United States and China. And again, this has been predicted so long ago. China. Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, you know, we're going to take this a different angle. We're going to go international today, and we're going to start talking about China.
China.
Yeah, that's right, China. You know, but not just China, but you know, what's going on in that part of the world and what's going on in other parts of the world, because you know, for the longest time, you know, a lot of us, you know, we're kind of concentrated on what's going on in our neck of the woods because, well, for obvious reasons. You know, we're battling the zombie virus, or you know, the whole economic thing, and again, there's one thing after another. So a lot of us, you know, we haven't really been paying attention to what's going on in other parts of the world. But that's what today's episode is going to be about. We're going to be talking about exactly that. You know what I mean? What's kind of like going on in China and all that good stuff. Because I think it's an important topic. Because a lot of people right now, you know, they're worried, you know, even me included, you know, worried about the fact that, you know, we might be seeing a civil war in the US. We might be seeing a lot of civil unrest. If a certain president, you know, Biden gets elected, if a certain person gets elected, we might be seeing full-blown communism. You know, one can argue we're already getting pretty close to that, but a lot of people can also argue the fact that, you know, the president that is also in power right now is doing the complete opposite of allowing that. So, you know, again, now from the historical perspective, we've been here before. This ain't the first time. You know, we've had very similar situation. You know, we've had a very similar situation like this before in our past. And, you know, around the same time of like World War I, World War II. You know, remember we had a pandemia back then, you know, the Spanish flu. And so on and so forth. And, as you guys already know, things, you know, we're still here. You know what I mean? It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't the end of civilization or anything like that. But we were definitely going through some hard times, you know, back in the day. And so, sure enough, you know, we're embarking on another, you know, point in human history that is basically, you know, changing the whole. You know, the whole world is going to be changing the whole world. Right now, the whole world is being changed as we speak. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, because, you know, most people have no idea what the hell's going on in just China. Right now, there's over 2 million people in refugee camps. Okay? You know, there are two, you know, you guys remember World War II, that guy named Hitler, and, you know, all the Jews that were in the internment camps and all that shit. Well, guess what, guys? That's going on today. Over 2 million Uyghurs, all right? I think that's how you say it. I'm not, you know, quite the, you know, the scholar here. But anyways, over 2 million Uyghurs, which are, you know, a sect of religion. Again, you know, don't be coming at me for facts. You know, in fact, what this channel is all about is just to kind of like open your eyes, open your ears, and then for you guys to really do some more digging and do some homework on your own. Okay, this is just to kind of like you know, put it out there. All right, but anyways, over 2 million of them, you know what I mean, are literally in concentration camps right now. The same concentration camps that, you know, the left wants to put the typical American in. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go do some research. Look at the Bernie Bros, look at Project Veritas, you know, as they've exposed, you know, exactly what the left, you know, what the left's plan, you know, going forward is, you know, what they would like to see with the new America. They talk about it very, very candidly, you know what I mean, very in front of your face, that they want communism, that they want full-blown socialism, that they want to put people in re-education camps, you know, in case they don't follow protocol, they don't follow the same, you know, whatever. So for example, me not wearing my mask, I would be put in a concentration camp, a re-education camp, just because I don't share the same views as you know, a certain group. But anyways, you know, I digress. You know, what we're going to be talking about, you know, is like we're just bringing a lot of this stuff to light, because I think honestly, you know, when it comes to like the whole zombie virus, you know, the whole thing that's going on, you know, with everybody around the world right now, we already know. We've talked about this on this channel many times. You know, the fact that, you know, what's really going on with that. The real reason the whole world has shut down is because of an economic reason. It's because they are switching over. They're switching over currencies. You know, they're replacing the US dollar with another US dollar. Bruh. What do you mean, Jose? What do you mean? Well, basically, again, we have the US dollar, and again, I'm just doing the short layman terms version explanation here in this video. But yeah, so we have the US dollar right now, and so the replacement is going to be another fiat version of the US dollar. And what is gonna put that dollar in place? What is going to keep that dollar in place? What's going to, you know, make sure that that dollar doesn't go anywhere? Well, get some, yeah, get some, come on, get some. The United States and the United States Army and everything backing it up. So, you know, the same thing that's keeping this dollar, this current dollar, you know, up, you know, and running. It's going to be, you know, the same mechanism, you know. So what they're doing right now is that, if you want more context on this, you guys can check out like Gregory Mannarino. He talks a lot about this stuff. Sorry if it's really windy, really windy. It seems like it might be storming soon. But yeah, check out Gregory Mannarino for more context on exactly what I'm talking about here. So real quick on man, it's so loud. Anyway, so yeah, so what's basically happening is that the Fed, you know, has taken over the Treasury. The Fed is now printing the US dollar into oblivion. You know, print, okay, until, you know, the dollar is hyperinflated, and once a dollar is hyperinflated, it's just simply replace it with another currency. It's simply replacing it with another world reserve currency. And so you know, there's a lot of speculation that people are like, oh, it's going to be a gold or silver backed currency, or it's going to be a Bitcoin type thing, or it's going to be the Chinese yuan or some other world currency, or even SDRs. You know, an SDR type thing, you know, a basket of currencies. But the reality is that what's going to happen is that it's simply that the dollar is going to just be hyperinflated and overinflated into oblivion. Once it's useless, they'll just issue another dollar. And what's going to happen at that point is that you know, either we're still going to be the top dog, and we're just going to be able to do it because we got the biggest balls on the block, or B, you know, we're going to have someone challenging us to that, and that would be China. That's basically it. And so China would challenge that. They would challenge the hegemony of the brand new dollar, you know, the creation of that brand new dollar, you know, the continuation of the empire, of the American empire, the continuation of more money printing and all that stuff. Sorry, I got something on my foot here. And so, you know, then at that point, if China has a problem with it, then China can go to war with the US. Get some! Get some! Get some! Get some! Get some! Come on! Get it! Come on! Get some! Get some! Yeah! I got you, brother! Ha ha! But again, if you know anything about what's going on here, you know, China ain't going to war to the US. The US is going to go to war with China. But again, that's what we're kind of talking about here, because there's been a lot of developments that have been happening in recent weeks, in recent, you know, months, and no one's talking about them. And I was like, you know what, let me just start talking about these now, because as you guys already know, man, there's something really killing my foot here. Anyways, but as you guys already know, hold on a second. Terrible content, bruh. I think an ant crawled in my shoe and bit me. Anyways. All right, so yeah, basically a lot of developments have been happening recently, and a lot of you know, things around the world. And so, like, you know, like I was saying on this channel, like last live stream, and I've been saying before, I'm really gonna stop talking about the same old thing about the zombie virus or about this or about that. You know, we're gonna be talking about, you know, everything else that's going on. You know what I mean? Everything, like from technology to how you can, you know, benefit with technology, how you can benefit from knowledge. And again, check out the last live stream so you can get more context on that. You know, we're going to be talking about more things like that. We're going to be talking about positive things. We're going to be talking about technology, future. We're going to be talking about more of the geopolitics stuff, you know, going on around the world, and so on. I'm trying not to get run over here, and so on and so forth. All right, so we're going to be doing a lot more of that. And so this is what today's episode is about. You know, today we're going to be talking about the geopolitical aspect as to what's going on right now in the other part of the world. Because look, let me give you a quick synopsis as to what I think is going to happen. I think that, you know, which is, we're watching a lot of it happen right now, you know, so this is not like a lot of speculation. A lot of this is actually happening right now. So, you know, right now all you hear is the fact that the talk of we're going to war in the US. It's going to be civil war, civil war, civil war. Every single day, as you're looking at the signs all around you, it does seem like we could be going to some sort of civil war. In fact, you know, most people out there are in the complete agreement that things are only going to get way worse after the elections. That right now it's a little bit of a calm before the storm, and that basically it's going to get way worse after the elections, no matter who wins. And I agree. But I think, you know, it's pretty obvious that we know who's going to win here. And there's going to be Trump again. He's going to freaking win again. China! And after he wins again, then we're going to go and he's going to instill his plan, okay? And what is his plan? The complete opposite of communism and socialism, okay? So he's going to start, once he wins, he's going to really, really lock down, clamp down on all the manifestations and all the, you know, leftist you know, destruction and you know, all that craziness that's happening in all the cities around the US. You know, so everything from the statues getting torn down to the riots, you know, to you know, all the civil unrest, all the, you know, the burnings of the courthouses, you know, the burning, all that shit is going to come to an end immediately. And the funny part is that, as you guys already know, you know, it's already a thing. You know, they're already at battle. You know, there's certain groups that are behind the left are pushing, you know, more and more of this violence and aggression and insanity. The ones on the right, you know, which is Trump and the cohorts, you know, they're trying to do the opposite, you know, which is, you know, now they're coming in and trying to clamp down and shut it all down and quiet it up. And so we're already starting to see some of that. And you're probably asking yourself, well, how's China falling into this? You're already like 12 minutes into this, and you haven't really kind of talked about China in that sense. And the thing is that, well, the reality is, it seems that we're going to be going to war with China. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to pause it here, not here. I'm going to pause in a couple seconds, and then I'm going to pick it up on the back, on the way back, as to what's going to happen there. I just want to have two complete thoughts first, you know, before I get too deep into the next one. So basically, you know, right now, you know, we think that we're going into civil war. We think that the US is going to fall. We think that all this crazy shit's going to happen. What the reality is that China is also falling very hard. Remember, the whole world economy is tanking extremely hard. China is falling really hard, and they're instilling a lot of dystopian, a lot of, you know, crazy, totalitarian, technocratic, you know, communistic, you know, very scary stuff on their people and on, you know, on the Chinese public and stuff like that. On top of the whole thing with the Uyghurs is going on top of like the fact that's going in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and I could go on and on. And so all of a sudden, the president of the United States is anti-communism. He's at a war with China. You know, China is only getting more communist. China's only getting more hardcore in, you know, what their stance is, which is very, very closely related and following the left ideology. So as each day goes on, more and more people are leaving that left ideology, you know what I mean? Because even people that are lefty, you you know, they can't, they're politically homeless. They feel, you know, like they don't have a voice anymore within their political party because the left has gone so far to the left, it's gone straight communism, and most people can't freaking relate with that anymore. And because of that, you know what I mean, again, as things continue to get worse, more people are starting to shed light on what's really happening in China. More people are shedding light as to what's happening really in the United States of America, because people are watching it, they're seeing it. You know what I mean? People don't want to vote straight for Biden. Straight up, a lot of people just don't want to vote for Biden because it's going to be a lot more of that. Why would they want that ideology, that mentality, that anything? And so people are, again, that's why Trump's going to win on many, many levels, all right? But again, that's not what this episode's about. This episode is that after he wins, and we go really full conservatism, you know, we go full conservatives. Bruh. Anyways, once that happens, and all of a sudden we're shedding a lot more light on China, you know, the US president's going to be shedding more light on China. The US people are going to have more light shed on what's going on, you know, with the left and Antifa and communism and all this stuff and all the things that they want to push. And then they're looking at what's going on over there in China and so on and so forth. And I think people are just not gonna react very well. And then some sort of false flag, some sort of emergency, somewhat or whatever. It might be a really, really bad case and wave of the Wuhan, you know, Chinese virus. Or it might be something completely different, something a la 9/11, 9/11 or whatever, you know? But that is what I think is gonna eventually, once that event happens, once that dark horse event happens, once that happens or whatever, then all of a sudden the United States of America is going to come together just like we did during 9/11, and then all of a sudden it's going to be all the people against China, against communism, against that whole ideology. And so all of a sudden you're going to see a huge portion of the population, just like we did back during 9/11, just all of a sudden go very war hungry and want to defeat communism all over the world, whether it's in Venezuela, whether it's in Cuba, especially in China. And I'm going to tell you why China, because I'm waiting, you know what I mean, to finish his thoughts. So I can tell you more about what I think is going to, you know, what's transpiring over there. But eventually, all of a sudden, like, there's not going to be a civil war, and everyone's going to turn their attention as to fighting communism. Most people are going to be on board, no problem, because, well, they're already fucking sick and tired of, you know, communism trying to take place in the US. All of a sudden, we're going to take a hard right, literally a hard right. And after we do that hard right, that's when all of a sudden the people are going to start, you know, just getting on that side. And if anyone in the US like allies themselves, you know, with the left, aligns themselves with the communist mentality, sorry, with the communist mentality or any kind of you know, socialistic, you know, mentality or anything like that, oh man, people are not gonna fall for that. People are not gonna like that. So I think that we're starting to see that here. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this camera off for like a couple seconds so I can like kind of cool off, and then I'm going to finish my thought on my way home. We're going to talk about the events that are happening literally right now in China, in India, in Pakistan, in that part of the world right now that are literally going to be affecting us, and they're already affecting us as we speak. So stay tuned for that thought. All right, guys, so this is part 2 right now. We already talked about part 1. All right. And in part 1, well, we already talked about the genocide. We already talked about the whole socialist situation, communist situation, that whole thing that's happening in the US right now, that whole, you know. But now what we're going to be talking about is the geopolitical situation that's happening in another part of the world, mainly India. So if you guys aren't familiar with India, it's a country. A huge country with billions of people, and they just happen to be a huge ally of the US. In fact, they're a major ally of the United States of America. Right now, for I want to say months, probably a year. It's actually been a lot longer, way longer, but in the last like month to a few years, I mean, sorry, in the last like couple months, last several months, I want to say 6 months to a year, Pakistan, which is the neighbor of India. I'm gonna see if I can fucking put a map here somewhere, right? But anyways, you know, India and which is Pakistan, which is the neighbor of India, has been very aggressive with India. So if you guys don't know the history, I'm gonna give you a quick 2 seconds. Basically, India and Pakistan hate each other, and if you guys can see on that border, all right, they're basically right next to each other, and each side has hundreds of nukes, hundreds of nuclear weapons pointed at each other. So right there in that piece of the world, that part of the world right there, Pakistan has a bunch of nukes pointed at India. India has a bunch of nukes pointed at Pakistan, and they're always, you know, constantly, you know, just having little tips, you know, having little situations, you know. But it's been getting, you know, hotter and, you know, it's been getting heavier and hotter, or hotter and heavier, whatever. Anyways, as we've gone, you know, forward with all this stuff. So with that being said, you know, you know, recently, China is on the other side of the border. So if you guys know India, just like you see on the, like you saw on the map, you know, there's two major borders to the north. You know, one is bordering Pakistan and the other one is bordering China. So now, you know, in recent, you know, months, China has now been aggressive towards India. So now, you know, Pakistan has been attacking and been aggressive towards India. China is now being aggressive and attacking India. They've already been attacks, you know, military confrontations. You know, China is now the big boy on the block. They have an army. They want to use it, you know. As an American building the American empire back in the late 1800s, you know, we were, you know, starting to be the big kid on the block. We were building an army. We wanted to use it. We used it. Well, not only did we use it then, but we used, you know, during the Spanish-American War, but we used it during the first World War and the Second World War, and the rest is history, as they like to say. But what I'm saying is that, you know, now we're in another point in time in which the new big boy in town is now also, you know, they want to be the big boy in the playground, or what have you, or whatever you want to, you know, however you want to describe it. And so that's China right now. It's not Russia or anything like that. It's actually China. And so, you know, what's going on with that is the fact that, you know, now all of a sudden, you know, China is attacking, or, you know, making a lot of aggressive threats towards Hong Kong, and basically sacking, you know, kind of taking over Hong Kong. They've also done the same thing with Taiwan. You know, they're threatening like a motherfucker Taiwan. You guys can look into the history of Taiwan and both Hong Kong, all right? You know, both Hong Kong and Taiwan used to belong to China. Not anymore. China's trying to get those two back illegally, but they're trying to do it anyway. And then on top of that, all the other things that China's doing. Remember, China has 2 million people in concentration camps, you know, same ones that Hitler had, okay? Same kind of deal. Not only do those 2 million people that are in the camps, but they are taking over Hong Kong. They've essentially kind of almost already taken over Hong Kong. They are also, you know, going after furiously, you know, trying to go after Taiwan and all that shit. But more importantly than anything else, what they, you know, on top of all that, they're also, putting their military might all over the South China Sea and all over that area, in order to, you know, again, exude their dominance or whatever, you know. And so, you know, they're kind of like saying, yeah, like, this whole ocean, this whole area belongs to us. You know, all these ocean ways between the Philippines and Thailand and this and that, it all belongs to us. You know, they've been building dams. I forgot the name and I forgot the area, but they've been building dams all over this major river that China's been building dams, you know, all over this, you know, all over this major river that is basically the water source for, you know, a good part of Southern Asia. And they have literally cut off the water supply. And this is like a river that's like way bigger than the Mississippi. This is like a monster of a freaking river. And they built some of the largest some of the largest dams in the world throughout that whole region, just to, again, keep water out of these other countries.
Fish and rice form a part of the staple diet of the people in these countries. The word Mekong itself is the shortened form of Mae Nam Hong. Mae Nam translates to mother of waters, and Hong refers to the river. By controlling the flow of Mekong, China is robbing these countries of their fish, rice, and water. Ultimately, this gets connected to the South China Sea disputes. Vietnam is particularly affected because it is at the bottom of the Mekong River stream and therefore most vulnerable to Chinese misadventures. Beijing is holding the Southeast Asians at ransom by holding up the Mekong River in order to prevail in the South China Sea. In fact, the way Mekong River has dried up in the lower Mekong Basin countries is visible on the face of it. The Grand Tour show, for instance, showed how the Mekong River has absolutely dried up at several places in the downstream areas. On the episode, Jeremy Clarkson said it's not just climate change to blame because there's another problem: China. They have dammed the river that feeds all the water systems around here. To this, Richard Hammond said, "How much sense does it make sitting here with your house on stilts with no water around to learn that the Chinese have nicked all your water?" Later in the show, James May remarked that this was as bad as a nuclear war. China maintains an unequal relationship with the lower basin countries in the lack of any effective water sharing treaty. The 1995 Mekong Agreement did establish the Mekong River Commission and Intergovernmental RBO, but the two upstream countries, Myanmar and China, do not participate actively in water sharing. The Eyes on Earth study published in April has now paved the way for a war of words between the US and China. It all started with the US ambassador to Cambodia, Patrick Murphy, saying he was quite surprised at the findings. Launching a stinging attack at China, he said, to learn that a primary source for the diminished level of the Mekong and changes in the Mekong in the lower Mekong region is what's happening upstream in China, with essentially the hoarding of water. On its part, Chinese state media denies all such reports of Beijing holding up Mekong water. A state-run Chinese newspaper, People's Daily, published a story titled "River Dams in China Helped Alleviate Drought Along Lancang Mekong. Research Finds." But this is bizarre. What Beijing has inadvertently admitted to that it can actually decide when the lower basin countries get water and when they suffer droughts. China has also been stepping up the activities of its Lancang Mekong Cooperation Group, a new intergovernmental body which a US ambassador calls an attempt to sideline the Mekong River Commission. The MRC was established with American efforts to encourage cooperation amongst lower Mekong Basin countries. The 11 monstrous dams constructed by China and the water wars that it has waged in the Mekong River had to become a geopolitical face-off sooner or later. With Washington engaging China in a war of words, the Mekong River has thus become the latest point of confrontation between the two giants.
Again, did I mention the slaves? Did I mention the Christian, the other Christian groups, Chinese people that are Christian or whatever, you know what I mean? And they're not allowed to, practice their religion. They're being, gone after and persecuted and all this other stuff. But now, the main key to this whole thing, everything that China's doing, the whole TikTok thing, I can go on and on. All right, Huawei, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm just mentioning things to you guys, okay? I'm not necessarily on any side here, just throwing it out there. But now they're attacking India. In fact, they are now trying to coordinate with Pakistan and other neighbors that don't necessarily get along with India to attack. And places like Australia have already, caught whiff of what's going on. And Australia is a major trading partner of China. Again, if you look on the map, you can see how close they are and the situation there. But Australia, obviously, that they're very closely aligned with the United States, and they're closely aligned with the East, okay? With the West. And even though Australia's in the East, they're south of China, the reality is that, a good majority of, Australia, just like a lot of English-speaking countries, they are on one side of the spectrum here. So anyway, so what I'm saying is that Australia has already come out and said straight up, that they are backing India. So if all of a sudden China attacks India, that Australia would sever all business ties and start severing ties with China in order to protect India. So if Australia is going to protect India, well, what do you think the US is going to do? They're going to protect India. So, and remember, for the longest time I've been talking about the fact that eventually we were going to have some sort of war, world war. It looked like we were going to have a civil war, but apparently it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen. It seems like we might actually, instead of having a civil war in the United States, we're actually going to have another world war, World War III. World War III between the United States and China. And again, this has been predicted so long ago. You know, I remember playing games, you know, on the computer back in the 90s called like Command and Conquer and shit like that. And they were predicting, you know, the war between the US and China. And it, you know, just, you know, going back to that now, it's like, bro, you know, that's the same exact fucking thing. You know what I mean? You might as well, you know, it's like they're reading that, it's like they're reading that playbook or that game or that whatever, you know? So with that being said, so what's going on now is that they're setting up the stage in order to go with World War III. That's what they seem to be setting the stage for here. You know, World War III. And how are they going to start World War III? Well, very simply, what they're going to do is they're going to start it in that part of the world, in Asia, and definitely in the Indian, in the region of India, and around there. Now, again, I don't know, I have no idea. But if all of a sudden, you know what I mean, like something sparks up in India, and it's the fault of China, and the U.S., you know, has to step in, because they will step in, because they've already said they will step in. They've already said that they're going to defend India, you know, to the death. That says everything you need to know about what's going on there. So if all of a sudden, you know, China attacks India, well, then that means that they basically attacked us. So that means that we got to go to war with China, as if we weren't already at war, but it's going to be a hot war. And so you see how quickly things just escalate. And if all of a sudden they attack our friends in India, and when they attack our friends in India, we go to war with them, you know. And when we go to war with China, now all of a sudden everything just turns topsy-turvy, because we have so many reasons to hate China now, right? Everything from the slaves, everything from the Chinese virus, right, that they fucking threw on the world. And again, this is what they're saying, this is the propaganda, you know what I mean? But I'm just throwing it out there, you know what I mean? Remember, the propaganda still is Chinese virus, and they're the ones that infected the world, and all over the world people are extremely upset because of China. This so again, the exploitation of workers in China, the slaves, the actual religious slaves that they have in China, the whole situation that they're going on with the whole situation that's going on, you know, now with India, and I could go with the everything, one thing after another. And all of a sudden you're starting to see, it's like, oh, wait a minute, because again, you're looking at Trump, and you're looking at the things that he's deciding and talking about and wanting to go forward with, and he is not, you know, he is I mean, look, I know he's going back and forth. You already know how I feel about that. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean, he is kind of like on the opposite end, you know, of the spectrum here. You know what I mean? He's playing you know, even though it's good cop, bad cop, you know, he is on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to, you know, what's going on with that situation. Yeah, sorry, I mean, no, sorry, I got distracted with something. But yeah, you follow me, right? You guys understand, you know, what I'm saying with that whole, hold on a second. Never mind. All right, sorry, I got a little distracted with something else. Anyway, so as I was saying, yeah, basically that's where we're at right now. You know what I mean? I think that right now they're setting up the stage for some sort of war, some sort of situation. You know, obviously the war was going to happen, whether the war was going to happen in Venezuela, whether the war was going to happen internally in the US, whether the war was going to happen across the pond. You know, now we're looking at India. You know, we thought that it was going to be somewhere maybe in China, maybe Africa, who knows, you know. But now, again, we're even seeing European countries, you know, coming to the aid of India, coming to the aid of this. So now all of a sudden you're starting to see lines being drawn in the sand, and you're starting to see people, you know, pick sides. You know, and again, you know, the sides have already kind of been picked. You got to remember that. It's everyone that's aligned with China, and everyone that's aligned with the US. And it's like, for example, you know, a country like Russia right now, they're kind of like in the middle, because Russia's aligned with kind of like everybody. And so even the US right now is starting to call for sanctions on China, and they're going to start putting sanctions on China. But as you guys already know, these sanctions really don't do much. You know, the dollar is already not being used, you know what I mean, in a lot of parts of the world. You know what I mean? And trade within China and Russia alone with the dollar has fallen to way below 50%. And I can go on and on. You know, so, you know, there's a lot of major change happening. You know, I've been talking about this on this channel for a long time, but now we're starting to really put the pieces together, all right? And now we're really gonna, you know, now we can really start to really figure out what the hell's going on. So, you know, are we going to be, is the US going to be on world lockdown forever? I don't think so. I think this is really going to be up until the election. Once the elections are over, we're going to start opening up because, you know, America needs Americans everywhere. You follow me? You know what I mean? So I don't think that they're going to, you know, I think it's going to be that. And then I think that it's going to be a conflict with China. I think that that's what's eventually going to start, you know, materializing and happening, because we've already been in a hot war with China even before Trump got elected. As you remember, have I talked many times before, Hillary Clinton was supposed to take over. Well, Hillary Clinton was supposed to take over the pivot to China. And Obama was already like leaving the Middle East and start pivoting towards China. And when Trump took over, they abandoned that whole idea. But it doesn't mean that, you know, we are still, that we were going to stop that. You get what I'm saying? So even if Biden gets elected, which I doubt, it doesn't mean that we're, you know, it only means that we're only going to go further into that. You know, we're going to definitely attack, you know, China, and it's definitely going to move in that direction. So, you know, again, guys, this is something for us to really keep an eye on for a million reasons. Why does it affect us? Again, because it's communist China. They're trying to instill communist ideals in our country. And, you know, we got one political party that is totally fine with communism, especially the Chinese brand of communism. And then there's another side of the political spectrum, you know, the one that's in power now, that wants absolutely nothing to do with communism. All right. And they're, you know, as each day goes on, more and more Americans want less and less to do with anything socialistic, communistic, or anything, you know, anything in that realm. And it seems that, you know, the United States of America might actually gather and might actually, you know, form one, you know, uniform peace. You get what I'm saying? Again, due to some major conflict, you know, just like we had during 9/11, everybody got together to fight terrorism. Well, guess what? Everyone's going to get together to fight communism. And bam, we're going to go through the Red Scare all over again. Do you guys remember that? So look into the Red Scare in the United States. Look into that, okay? Look into McCarthyism. Look into all that shit. Where all that's coming, guys. So, you know, I'm telling you guys, this is only the beginning. Buckle up. Get ready, all right? This is, again, you know, it's only going to get more interesting as each day goes on. So I hope you guys are prepared with a lot of popcorn. All right, guys, long episode today. I just wanted to get out there and share some thoughts with you guys, so you guys have a video to look forward to on Saturday morning and have something to listen to and contemplate and share and all that. That's why you see me talking about now technology. You see me talking about so many other things, because again, they want everybody to be a zombie. They want you to be a zombie. They want you to just be concentrated on the most mundane, dumb thing, because they really don't want you to know what the hell's going on. So I'm trying to let you know what the fuck is going on. All right, guys? So guys, you already know the deal. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to please, you know, if you'd like this content, you know, don't forget to please check out all the links down below, so you can find the podcast, so you can find my other channel, so you can find, you know, all the links to all the things that I do down below. All right, because I'm all over the internet. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on, you name it. All right, so please, you know, check out down below everywhere I am. As you guys already know, I'm here all the freaking time, and I love making these videos for you. So all right, guys, that's it. Enough talking. It's time for me to go. Don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit that bell icon, but more importantly than anything else, don't forget to stay awesome. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday for the Happy Hump Day live stream. Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Central. See you guys then. Bye.